Hey, so there's one word on my mind today, and it is inflation. If you guys don't know what inflation means, it means the cost of goods going up with your money being worth less over time. Usually this happens when products are becoming more and more expensive to create, and your money or the value of your money stays the same. Usually you can do it with printing money, or in general just having things be unrealistically become expensive because of a catastrophic event. And I would like to say that inflation has been plaguing America for decades, and it's starting to become more and more noticeable with people talking about how hard it is to rent a house. My friend the real Noth actually makes a good video explaining why he feels that it's just not easy to just start being in your early 20s and just buy a house and just have like an average job and just live a life of just completely ignorant entertainment. But I'd like to say in this video specifically, I'd like to talk about egg prices. And with inflation going up a lot during COVID, I'd like to say the price of things have increased about like 50% in like those 4 years from 2020 to 2024. Now we're in 2025. And even before COVID, I'd say it was very hard to even rent. The value of my house has increased over $100,000 during COVID. And I like to say that it's just kind of crazy that these things are happening and people, aren't really getting paid much more with to combat these inflation prices. And today, like I said, we're talking about eggs, and hens. Why are we talking about eggs and hens? Well, when it comes to people noticing inflation price increases, we start to look at our groceries, and when your groceries start costing a lot more, especially with me and my dad recently going to the supermarkets and buying a few things here and there, and it comes out to like $60 or $80, we're just like, wow, where has the value of our money gone? Now, I've started talking to friends online, and I realized that egg prices are just like not what we think they're supposed to be. And first things first, when I think of egg prices, I remember going to Aldi's with my mom, and we used to shop there, and eggs would be about $3.29 when they were quote unquote expensive. Sometimes they'd have deals and the eggs would be worth about $2 to $3. And at $3.29, my mom would complain to me actually and say, wow, these eggs are really expensive. I don't know if we should buy them or go to Walmart. And I would just sit there and be like, it's just a dollar difference. I'm not really thinking too much about it. I didn't really have to pay it out of my pocket. So I didn't really worry about the price of eggs at the time. And honestly, at $3.29, it sounds like eggs are a steal. Okay, so today we are in 2025, and this would be, I don't know, I'd say a good decade later. And it would seem that egg prices are excruciatingly higher than what it seemed like a few years ago. And first things first, egg prices in my area are about $8. When I asked some of my friends online what the prices of eggs are in their place, first things first, in Las Vegas, I have a friend that has eggs at over $15 a dozen. $15 a dozen. My friend in Illinois says egg prices are over $17 a dozen. With taxes, $16 respectively, and $18 in Illinois. And just to be clear, this is just Las Vegas, which I don't really know is a very expensive city to live in. I'm gonna be honest. If I had to guess, California, Chicago, Illinois makes sense to me as to being super expensive, and even New York. So when I hear that egg prices are $8, I'm kind of freaking out because let's be honest, we're talking about my place being about $8. These two places, that is more than $1 an egg. And that is crazy to me because I used to complain about thinking about a restaurant charging me $1 an egg whenever I'd go there because, it costs 25 cents to buy an egg if you buy them for $3 a dozen. How is it possible that you guys are going to charge me $1 per egg? Sometimes I had restaurants charging me $2 and I don't think we ever went back. Okay. So when I hear that buying an egg from the grocery store costs more than $1 per egg, it's actually crazy. I mean, at $17, you're paying almost like $1.50 per egg. Crazy. $18 with tax. Oh, you are paying $1.50 for an egg in Chicago. Crazy. And so what people have decided to do is to start doing farming. Everything goes back to it regresses. When things get too expensive, people regress to simplicity. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I would ever pay $18 a dozen for an egg. No way in hell. I don't even think I'd pay $10 a dozen for an egg.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that the persistent sticker shock Americans are feeling when they visit the supermarket egg case is going away anytime soon. Here's why. According to the USDA, egg prices rose by 8.4% in December 2024, and the agency anticipates a 20.3% increase over the course of 2025. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, the average price of a dozen eggs in December was around $4.15, and it's only gone up from there. In January 2021, it was less than $1.50. The culprit is avian flu.
Efforts to limit the spread of the virus have led to the slaughter of more than 145 million chickens, turkeys, and other birds.
I'm just being honest. But what people are doing now is they're starting these farming companies of, having chicken lay eggs for you. And in some of these articles that I'm reading, and they'll be listed below in the description, it would seem that people are starting their own hen egg laying services. And so what some people will do is they'll either buy eggs from a local farm, which seems to be cheaper than the stores, and it would seem that, you're supporting local businesses, which is always a bonus. And, in general, when you support a local farm, they usually won't use pesticides. They'll talk about being organic, no machinery, etc. Now, my big thing, though, is with the egg service that they're producing for the hens. So there's another company out there that wants to produce a service of giving you 2 hens, and they say that 2 healthy hens will lay eggs for you about a dozen a week. So 2 hens, a dozen a week. And when you pay them $600 for 2 hens, over 6 months, they'll give you enough feed for them for those 6 months. And then after those 6 months, you get to keep the hens. They won't give you any more feed, and you can keep getting more eggs out of them. Now, for me, when I think this through, it sounds awesome. Some people love, raising the hens, and they'll want to keep them. Maybe, I don't know exactly if they have to buy the hens to keep them after the 6 months, or if they just it's part of the contract. You pay $600 USD, which is about 500 pounds, and then you get to keep the hens after your contract's up. But I guess they just won't give you feed anymore. That's what I'm guessing. But it would seem that hens producing a dozen eggs a week for 6 months is 24 weeks of 12 eggs. And if you do that math correctly, that is just under 270 eggs in your 6-month span. Okay? And if you are spending $600 for 2 hens and you're taking care of them, and in return you get 270 eggs, it would seem that you're literally paying not even almost, you're paying over $2 an egg because it's over 6 months. And I'm just thinking this through. It seems that some people just enjoy the process of just making the eggs themselves. There's a thing where if you make something yourself, for example, if you build a table yourself, you'll feel more inclined and more happy with the finished process instead of just buying a table. That is why companies like IKEA have a more satisfactory thing where customers, will build the shelf, they'll build the table, they'll build the chair themselves, and they'll feel much more satisfactory with that table, chair, or appliance because they made it themselves. It's kind of a human emotional thing. When you make something yourself, when you make pottery, you just feel better about it than just, someone else making it and you buying it.
The floor plan of most IKEA stores resembles a maze that curves about every 50 feet to keep customers curious about what comes next. Since an average IKEA store is around 300,000 square feet, or 5 American football fields, that means a lot of walking.
An IKEA is, to some, frustratingly winding. But really, it's laid out as an experience to get you to buy more.
IKEA is famous for putting its customers to work. Unlike most furniture retailers that sell products pre-assembled, many of IKEA's pieces have to be built by their customers. But why? As many couples and their therapists well know, building your own IKEA cabinet can be challenging.
The big idea behind the IKEA effect is consumers are more attached, have more positive feelings towards objects or things that we've put effort into, and that we actually think that they're more valuable because of that.
The term IKEA effect was first coined in 2011 by researchers who noticed a similar phenomena in other products and businesses. When instant cake mixes were first introduced in the 1950s, they didn't sell well.
And then they said, let's add a fresh egg. It was this idea that we want to feel like we're just participating enough to not feel guilty about taking a shortcut.
When you make a cake from a mix, which do you want? A fresh egg cake or a cake made with dried eggs? For higher, lighter, tastier cake, why fresh eggs?
So with people paying over $2 an egg now, they get to feed, pet a chicken and, raise one like it's one of their own. And it seems that people are using this inflation period to, make it seem that it's okay to justify prices of raising your own hen and, having eggs be laid. And if people want to pay that price to have their own chicken eggs, if they want their own, and if people want to pay that price for their own eggs to be made, then, go for it, right? Because honestly, at over $2 an egg, that's more than what restaurants are charging. But if you feel the satisfactory from, making the egg yourself, then go get them, you know what I mean? And I guess you get 2 hens out of it too. So, put that in the cost perspective too. Overall, I just think it's crazy where we're at with inflation right now. It would seem that everyone is suffering at some level. I never thought there would come a day when eggs costed more than $10. Yet, it's 2025 and here we are. What do you guys think about inflation overall in America? Do you think it's crazy that people are actually resorting to having hens produce eggs for them? Do you think it's right for the American public or for products in groceries to cost so much? What about in your country or state? How much do eggs cost? Let me know in the comments below overall what you think about the whole situation. My name is Roman, aka Young BizWiz, and my computer just died. Thank you and have an awesome day. Peace. Decade later, and it would seem that egg prices are exuberant. And it would seem that egg prices are excruciatingly.